Groundbreaking research that followed couples for decades discovered one powerful predictor of divorce, and it revealed that when this one thing is missing, a husband is 7 times more likely to leave or absent-minded. It's not about sex, it's not about money, and it's not about nagging. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of what makes men stay and what makes them leave. We'll unpack the science, share the stories, and most importantly, give you a clear path to fix it if it's not too late. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding. And for many of you watching, this might just save your relationship. To understand this, we have to go to the source. The statistic comes from the work of Dr. John Gottman and his wife, Dr. Julie Schwartz Gottman. They are arguably the world's leading researchers on marital stability and divorce prediction. For over 40 years, they ran what was nicknamed the Love Lab. They brought thousands of couples into this apartment-like lab, observed them, filmed them, hooked them up to heart rate monitors, and then followed up with them years later to see who stayed together and who divorced. By analyzing these interactions, Gottman could predict with over 90% accuracy which couples would make it and which wouldn't. He identified what he called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for relationships: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. But behind one of these horsemen, the one most often ridden by men, lies the real secret. The key wasn't in how they fought, but in how they didn't connect. After tracking these couples, they made a stunning discovery. In relationships where the wife felt emotionally disconnected and unheard, she often became critical or contemptuous. But in relationships where the husband felt emotionally disconnected and unheard, he was 7 times more likely to leave or absent-minded. The number one thing? Emotional neglect. The feeling of being alone, unseen, and unappreciated while in a relationship. So why is this so devastating for men? To understand that, we have to shatter a common myth. The myth is that men are just less emotional, or that they don't need emotional connection as much. That is completely false. Neuroscience shows that men experience emotions just as intensely as women. The difference isn't in the feeling, but in the processing and expressing. For many men, particularly when stressed or in conflict, they are prone to something called flooding. Flooding is a physiological state of overwhelm. His heart rate rises above 100 beats per minute, his adrenal system kicks in, and he gets flooded with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This triggers a primal fight, flight, or freeze response. In modern relationships, this often manifests as freeze or flight, which looks like shutting down, stonewalling, or walking away. He's not giving the silent treatment to be malicious. On a biological level, he is literally protecting himself from what his body perceives as a threat. He withdraws to self-soothe and regulate his nervous system. Now, let's look at the common cycle or scenario. 1. She seeks connection by attempting to address an issue, which he often hears as criticism. 2. He feels attacked and becomes flooded. He shuts down to protect himself, stonewalling. 3. She interprets his shutdown as a lack of love, care, or investment in the relationship. She feels alone and escalates to get a response. 4. He interprets her escalation as more attack, flooding him further. He withdraws even more, into work, hobbies, or an affair. 5. This creates a vicious cycle of pursuer-distancer. She pursues connection through conflict. He distances to avoid conflict. And with every cycle, the distance grows wider. The affair, the leaving, absent-mindedness, that's the final symptom. That's the man finally executing the flight plan he's been unconsciously rehearsing for years. He doesn't leave because of the last argument. He leaves because of the 1,000 times he felt unappreciated. This is where we need to make a crucial shift. For the pursuer, often the wife, stop seeing his shutdown as a personal rejection. See it as a sign that his nervous system is overwhelmed. For the distancer, often the husband, stop seeing her pursuit as a personal attack. See it as a desperate bid for connection and reassurance. This isn't about who's right and who's wrong. It's about understanding the dysfunctional dance you're both stuck in. And once you see the dance, you can finally change the music. So, how do you fix this? How do you stop the cycle and make him feel safe enough to re-engage? It requires effort from both partners, but the initiator often has to be the one who sees the problem first. Here's your game plan. Step 1. Create emotional safety, the foundation. You cannot have a difficult conversation if his nervous system is in fight or flight. Safety is the prerequisite. Gottman's research shows that how a conversation starts predicts how it will end 96% of the time. Imagines words like this: "You never help around the house. I'm sick of doing everything," which is criticism. Try this: "Honey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed with the housework. Could we maybe find some time to talk about house chores and how you can support me? I will really appreciate your help." It's both a complaint plus appreciation. Again, try practicing physiological self-soothing. This is for the distancer. If you feel yourself getting flooded, heart pounding, feeling attacked, call for a break. But it's crucial how you do it. Don't just walk out. This is what you might try. "I love you, and I want to talk about this, but I'm getting too flooded to think straight. Can we please take a 20-minute break? I promise we will come back to this. I'm going to go for a walk to calm down." This reassures your partner that you're not abandoning them or the issue. You're just regulating so you can be a better partner. Step 2. Rebuild the connection. Daily deposits. Connection isn't built in one grand gesture. It's built in tiny, consistent moments of turning toward each other. The magic 5 hours. Gottman found that couples who spend an extra 5 hours a week on their relationship dramatically improve it. It breaks down into tiny daily habits. Partings. 2 minutes a day times 5 days equals 10 minutes. Know one thing about your partner's day ahead. Reunions. 20 minutes a day times 5 days equals 1 hour 40 minutes. Have a stress-reducing conversation at the end of the day. Admiration and appreciation. 5 minutes a day times 7 days equals 35 minutes. Thanks for taking the trash out. I really noticed. Affection. 5 minutes a day times 7 days equals 35 minutes. Holding hands, a kiss, a hug without an agenda. Weekly date. 2 hours a week. Focus on fun and connection, not problem solving. This isn't about massive time commitments. It's about small, intentional moments that scream, "You matter to me." Turn towards bids for connection. A bid is any attempt for attention, affirmation, or affection. "Look at that bird" is a bid. A sigh is a bid. Partners who stay together turn toward these bids 86% of the time. They put down their phone and look at the bird. Partners who divorce turn away from them. They grunt and keep scrolling. Start noticing bids and make a conscious choice to turn toward them. It's the muscle memory of connection. Step 3. Deepen the conversation beyond the surface. The "How was your day? Really?" question. Move beyond fine. Ask open-ended questions that invite emotion. What was the most frustrating part of your day? What are you most worried about right now? What are you really looking forward to? Listen to understand his/her inner world, not to solve his problems. Just validate. "That sounds really tough. I get why you're stressed." Recreate a positive narrative. Often, the story of the relationship becomes negative. We've grown apart. Actively rewrite it. Look at old photos together. Reminisce about your first date, your wedding, a great vacation. Tell the story of us as a love story that has hit a rough patch, not a tragedy. This builds shared meaning and reminds you why you chose each other. Rebuilding from emotional neglect isn't a 30-day fix. It's a new way of relating to each other. It requires vulnerability from him to stay engaged when he wants to run. and it requires patience from her to create the safety for him to do so. You will backslide. You will have bad days. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is repair. The goal is to get better at saying, hey, we fell into the old cycle again. Let's try a different way. That man who is 7 times more likely to leave, he's not a lost cause. He's a man who is profoundly lonely and has given up hope that things can change. You can give him that hope back by changing the dance. One softened startup, one turned toward bid, one honest conversation at a time. If this video gave you a new perspective on your relationship, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps others who need to see this find it. Subscribe for more evidence-based guides to love and connection. Comment below. What was your biggest takeaway? Are you more of a pursuer or a distancer? Please share it with your partner or a friend who might need it. You never know whose marriage you might help save. Thanks for watching. Remember, it's never too late to choose each other all over again.